Hello there guys, and welcome back to the channel. So today we're gonna have quite an interesting video because, again, more often than I'd like to admit, I have been asked how long I have been playing, how much I spend on the game, and how much do people on average spend in endgame, and basically what kind of chance people who don't spend much have to be in endgame. And that is an actual kind of like ever-going discussion, whether people who don't spend at all can kind of like hang in the endgame with endgame players, and whether it's enough if you just have a large wallet and you do not need to have any ability to play the game so long as you can purchase your way through it. Is that the thing? And there are quite obviously many opposing kind of opinions. And before I tell you guys my personal spending and my personal kind of like gaming habits, I will reveal kind of like a quick calculation, I guess you could say. I'm actually better off going to some darker background here, and that's why we're gonna drop on just this kabam site. And basically, here we go. Your MCOC account and your ability, therefore, as by an extension, is basically your time invested divided by skill times the money you put in the game. It's quite simple as that once you think about it, because this game is a grind. This game takes a lot of time, and time is arguably one of the most important kind of aspects of this game. And obviously you can compensate it with, on the other hand, as we can see, with the multiplication of money. The more money you invest, kind of like the less time you have to spend to be in the same place. And arguably money is even more important because it's not really divided by anything. Now, why time divided by skill? It's quite a simple thing, because the better you play, technically the less time you have to invest whenever you're trying to clear a specific piece of content, whenever you're trying to beat a difficult fight, so on and so forth. If you play well, your progression in the game is gonna be quicker. It's quite simple as that. It might not help you all that much in arena, obviously, because nobody really loses win streaks in arena or anything like that. But when it comes to dealing with the more difficult piece of content, then having a decent amount of skill will reduce it. And it's quite simple. If you are the better player, you're going to be able to clear Act 6 faster, because even by extension, if you need to use less revives, you need to grind for less units, therefore you need to spend less time in arena, therefore you can finish the quest faster. So the better you play, the faster you can accomplish your goals, kind of thing. And then there is unfortunate and inevitable aspect of money. Money is needed. Money, in my opinion, is quite a bit essential, and largely it's because of two main aspects. Because the cash offers themselves change the game. People who spend some amount of money in the game have vast advantage in 2 to 3 extremely different areas of the game, and unfortunately that is something no amount of time invested will not replace. Now, number one, typically the money offers quite exclusively increase the availability of the highest rank of resources. That means whoever spends X amount of money in game will always get a chance to progress to the next progression level quicker. If at one point that was gain more rank 4, 5 stars quicker, then currently in the game that is only people who have spent extraordinary amounts of money can currently have rank 3, 6 stars. If you haven't spent, that's simple as that. If you haven't spent money on a game today, right now, you cannot have a rank 3, 6 star. For instance, I do spend some money, but not nearly enough for that bar. Therefore, I'm still quite far away from having a rank 3, 6 star, even though I have been in an alliance that constantly finishes in master bracket, finishes in first or second or third in AQ, have finished all the content in game. I simply have not spent enough, and that is an exclusive resource which is only acquirable currently by money. Now, that does not mean I'm going to be left behind in the dust forever. Eventually this game does typically provide an option to kind of like catch up to a degree and reach the same progression level as anybody else who spends. But this implication of money always kind of like lets you leapfrog ahead. And also another unfortunate aspect where money is extremely important typically is prestige. And prestige is important obviously as an integral part of the end game for your placements and IQ and so on and so forth. And prestige is extremely money based. Whether it comes to acquiring newest highest prestige champions, like we have had Dr. Doom and Silver Surfer released as 5 or 6 star champions, and also impacting your ability to take them to max signature level, or having 6 star 6 stones and offers and stuff like that. And those kind of like the highest resources are extremely scarce, but currently in the game they become much more available if you're willing to invest X amount of money, right? So that is quite simple that. So for me personally, I do play in one of the biggest alliances in the game, therefore I definitely call myself an endgame player, but I'm not the biggest whale or the biggest spender. When it comes to my spending on this game, I'd say it probably goes from 300 to 500-600 on average month, depending on offers, and it also extremely dependent on what champions are getting released. Now there have been champions in this game that obviously I have tried to acquire harder than others, and I have spent over £1,000 for Cavalier crystals in themselves for like a specific champion. Like Namor was one of the most recent ones I can remember that I definitely dropped over 10 audits worth. But for most part I do not exceed kind of like 400 or 500 budget a month for this game. Or at least I try not to. Obviously some exceptions, again, like some specific sets of offers, because July 4th, for instance, that's like $400 or $500 price tag there in itself, plus if I spent anything else before or after, then immediately go over that. But an average month, I'd probably estimate it at around $300 to $400 a month. That's kind of like buying some offers, skipping some offers, buying some units, and maybe an Odin crystals or so. Obviously now I have an exclusive excuse of saying I do it for my YouTube channel because everybody loves watching spending the money, but in reality that's pretty much an average amount of money, in my opinion, that most of the people who are somewhere close to the end game situation do spend on the game. They pick and choose their offers. They do buy the more valuable and the more kind of like reasonable ones that do pick up the 6 star 6 stones. Quite many people are still skipping TF5CC offers, and if there's anything great coming, kind of that kind of aspect. And obviously then if you like a champion. So that is my personal spending, and that is how I think relatively MCOC works for anybody on average who is not a whale, as in like an absolute blubbery whale, but who still plays this game at a competitive level. Because let's face it, vast majority of the people who are in these master level alliances, platinum 1-2 level alliances, typically are working professionals, relatively more or less successful in life, and still at some point having stable stream of income, and that is the amount they kind of like are available to spend. Some people spend less, some people spend much more. It's not my place to judge. I can only kind of like share my view of it, and obviously my idea of what everybody else does, I guess. But again, there are many people in my alliance who spend multiple thousands a week on this game, just because they feel like it. So again, it significantly varies, but still at the same time I do believe that based by this simple kind of formula that I have placed on screen, it's quite inevitable that if you spend no money or no money at all, then the other side of equation suffers and has to compensate for it greatly. And that's quite as simple as that, and I think that's quite inevitable. And yeah, you can have all the time in the world and you can grind all of the champions, but if you invest zero amount of money, you're not going to be able to catch up, and that means you're not going to be at the top of the end game. Even if you treat this as a full-time job, whatever, if you're not able to purchase any of the cash offers, you're constantly going to be struggling with your prestige. You might still end up somewhere in Masters Alliance, but you're never going to be towards the top tier prestige, and you're always going to be the progression level behind for a while. Obviously, we do have examples such as like everybody loves to bring up Brian Grant, which I still think is not fair to most of the free-to-play players, because he does this for a job, right? So he can spend all of his time here. But still, even though he has all the time in the world for this game, his account is noticeably less jacked and less capable than that of some of his alliance mates, and that's a fact. He's not anywhere close to being top prestige in his alliance. He's not anywhere close to kind of how the size of the account when it comes to ranked up champions, some of the people who spend, and he's surely not going to be towards the first people to take the next champion rank 3. And eventually, if you don't spend any money, you can catch up, but you're always going to be lagging behind that next progression level versus in terms of prestige or just in champion rank progression level. And yeah, that is pretty much going to do it for today. I just wanted to put it out there because I do get asked quite a lot how much I spend, so on and so forth. And that is it, basically. Last couple of bits, I have played this game pretty much since it started. I started like a couple of months after it came out, and that is also an important fact because it's much easier to kind of keep on top of it or keep somewhere up there than it is to catching up to people who have had so much more time to play this game, even though it continuously becomes easier and easier to acquire the resources. But lest us forget, even though it's easier for a new player to gain those tier 5B catalysts now or tier 2 alphas, as they are trying to catch up, you're still gaining your tier 2 alphas and tier 5B catalysts pretty much at the same rate. So it's not that easy to catch up to anybody if that somebody is playing the account still actively. So yeah, having started early and having played this game for a long time obviously accounts for a lot. But still, it all is kind of about your time invested divided by skill times money. That would be my personal MCOC equation, I guess. But yeah, anyways, let me know what you guys think. Whether you think it's accurate, whether you have a better idea how to qualify this whole thing when it comes to spending, non-spending people, or what else. If you have any decent comments on what you heard in this video, definitely do drop a comment. And either way, it was my pleasure. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and if you did, hit that like button, hit that sub button, hit all the buttons, and I'm gonna catch you guys soon. See ya.